Greetings, folks. My name is Tim Mendees. I'm a horror writer, as many of you will know, and I'm often asked where what are my biggest influences. It's one of the questions I'm asked most frequently, and I think it will come as no surprise to anybody out there that is probably one of my biggest influences. Are the works of Mr. H.P. Lovecraft and the extended Lovecraft circle, and the Cthulhu mythos in general. But just as important to me as the horror aspect, which the cosmic horror comes from this side of things, is humour. I think humour works as a brilliant counterpoint to horror. If you can make the audience chuckle 1 second and then be horrified the next, you've pulled the rug out from under them to a degree. And like most people of my sort of generation, I grew up basically. I was raised by both Hammer Horror, which was camp, and these wonderful things, the Carry On films. Now, around 12 years ago, 13 years ago, I think. I can't actually remember how long it's been, but it's been a while now. It's coming up to 15 years. I moved to the town of Brighton in East Sussex. And I had the choice of moving to either Eastbourne just down the road or here. Now, one of the things, this is, well, a lot of people don't probably know, is that one of the things that made me choose Brighton, apart from the nightlife, that kind of thing, one of the big deciding point was the fact that two of my favourite Carry On films were filmed here. That is Carry On Girls and Carry On at Your Convenience. Now, what I propose to do right now is I'm going to take you on a tour of the locations used in those two movies. But also, it's not just that. There is also links to other Carry On films. So we will be discussing Carry On Girls, Carry On at Your Convenience. They will be the two main things that we will be discussing, but also we will find links to the first ever Carry On film, Carry On Sergeant, classic black and white Carry On Regardless, and my personal favourite, Carry On Screaming. It should be a lot of fun, because what I propose to do on this as well, because something I was horrified at when I moved here, was there isn't a Carry On pub crawl. How can that be? In a town with so many links to the Carry On movies, how can there not be a Carry On pub crawl? I mean, come on, people. So I'm going to create one. And also, I'm going to do a few other little bits and pieces today that should give you all a little bit of a giggle. And, it's my own personal sort of homage to the Carry On films. I'm armed with a bag of cable ties. I bought a slide whistle, but it's absolutely rubbish, It doesn't really work. So I'm going to have a look for another slide whistle. If I can't find one, I'm just going to have to dub the slide whistle noise on. Like that. I've also got a pair of scissors, a Sharpie, and a pair of saucy red undies. So yes, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, and join me for Carry On Brighton. The Carry On series primarily consists of 31 British comedy films between 1958 and 1978, and then one, Carry On Columbus, in 1992. There were also 4 TV Christmas specials, a television series of 13 episodes, and 3 stage plays. It was basically a continuation of the bawdy comic tradition of music hall and seaside postcards. And it basically became the quintessential British comedy series. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hop on a bus all the way down to the opposite end of town to join my first location, which is Clarges Hotel on Marine Parade, which is the location. It's the hotel where Carry On Girls was filmed, and it also put in an appearance as one of the many boozers that the team fell out of in Brighton in Carry On at Your Convenience. So, let's go get on a bus then. Directly behind me is Clarges Hotel, or it used to be Clarges Hotel. It's now flat, like many things along this part of the seafront, along Marine Parade. They were all hotels, that kind of thing. Now they've been converted into flats. Now, this was not only the location for one Carry On film, but two. It first appeared in 1971 in Carry On at Your Convenience, where it played one of the pubs that the team fell out of on the works outing on their way down just over there to Brighton Pier. Now, it's best known for its appearance in Carry On Girls, where it was the setting for Furcombe's beauty contests guests to stay. So they were all here: Sid James, Barbara Windsor, Bernie Breslaw, Peter Butterworth. The list goes on and on. Now, it also has a major link to the first ever Carry On film. Clarges was owned and run by none other than Dora Bryan. And she owned and ran this place until they were headed to bankruptcy, so they sold it all off to become flats. And she lived in that first floor flat until she became infirm and had to move to a retirement home just down near where I live, over in Hove. Yes, so yeah, this is a very important place in Carry On history. Yeah, and as you can see, whenever I look at these steps, I see that infamous scene with Joan Hickson and Jack Douglas. You know, I want you to come over to the promenade with me. But why? Because I want you to pull my knickers down. Pardon? They're on the pole over there. Yes, right over there. And that's where we're going next. I'm here on the Madeira lift to recreate one of the most iconic moments in Carry On Girls. Now, Joan Hickson is best known for playing Miss Marple in ITV's Agatha Christie dramatisations. So I think it's quite impressive that she was the mad old lady who had her knickers attached to a pole. So yes, I've got my cable ties. Right? I'm gonna have to do this kind of guerrilla because I don't know why, you know. Now, got my saucy red undies and I've got my marker pen. So what I propose to do is I'm going to write on Carry On Brighton, you know, because I think there should be a permanent pair of knickers on this site, you know, as kind of like a tribute to British actors and actresses of years gone by. So let's see if I can actually write on it with a marker pen. Hang on. Oh yeah, there we go. I probably should have done this at home. It's going to be a nightmare. It's rubbish. It'll work. It'll do. Carry on. And then Brighton, here we go. This is a bit, oh. Right. It'll do. Right. So step 2, pair of scissors. Right, how am I gonna do this? That way round? Yeah, that way round. So, here we go. Right. Now I'm gonna turn this off for a minute because this is gonna be the bit where I fall over and stuff, and I don't really want that on camera. Although it would be funny, but you know. It's a shame I can't get on the roof and do it properly, but you know, that'll do as a tribute. It's a fitting tribute. A fitting tribute to Carry On films. And you know, I think there should be permanently at Brighton a pair of knickers hanging on this very monument. You know, tribute to all the people who made the film. There we go. So everybody with me now. Salute the flag. I love it. I love it. I've got some superb looks. Right. So my next thing on that, I need a drink after that. So just down there, that's where that groin is. That's where Adam played my brilliant beer bottle. Tried to get a sneaky peek at Margaret Nolan while she was having some silky snaps taken. Now, yeah, as many people will know, it didn't go well. He ended up clattering through a sun umbrella. I just wanted to show something a bit further on. I don't know what the hell this case is being in. But just further along where you see that bank that was Brighton's fabled nudist beach. Now, I actually live in a flat just over there where my face is pointing right now. So I was there throughout the summer, and it was the summer of 2012 when the Olympics were on. And you can imagine, and it was a really baking hot summer. And every time I opened the curtains in the morning, I got an eyeful of something I really didn't want to see. Now, for our first liquid refreshment of the day, we are going to head across the road to the Bristol Bar, which is just over yonder. Now, any of you familiar with British rhyming slang? Start again. Anyone familiar with British rhyming slang will know that Bristols mean breasts. So, and apparently during the filming of Carry On Girls, the team would head to the Bristol Bar. You know, Bristol cities, that's the rhyming slang. They would head there for some liquid refreshment, which is what I'm about to do. Now, Sid and Peter Butterworth apparently used to go there at a lunchtime to do their betting slips. Now, so what better place to start the pub crawl, the Carry On Brighton pub crawl, than the Bristol Bar? Whenever I see the sign for the Bristol Bar, I'm always reminded of a scene from Carry On England. That brilliant Welsh legend, Windsor Davies, has just plastered up a thing of aircraft identification above Patrick Moyer's bed in the barracks. And Moyer comes in and he goes, "What the hell's this, Sarge?" And Windsor Davies in his brusque tones goes, "Aircraft identification. I bet you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a High Uncle and a Bristol." And Moya turns around, deadpans, and just goes, well, Bristols usually come in pairs. Righto, so now we've done the Bristol bar, we're gonna head down into Cape Town and have a look on our way down to the Palace Pier. Behind me is St George's Church in Cape Town in Brighton, where on the... I've forgotten the bloody thing. Where on the 6th of August 2014, Dora Bryan had her funeral. She was later laid to rest at Woodvale Cemetery further down into Brighton. I don't think I'm actually going to be able to make it down there today, but I will post some footage of it down there in the video. Yeah, apparently, when she was alive, Dora used to attend services here, and she occasionally actually was a guest speaker. So, you know, if you were into religion and that kind of thing, having somebody who was in like carry-on movies and films with like Frankie Howard and people like that, doing your bit of religion on a Sunday, that would be pretty damn cool. So yeah, I'm going to take a walk around and take some shots of it. Yeah, enjoy. Yes, I was going to do a little bit more of a talk out the front there, but unfortunately there is a farmer's market there today, and a wino came and sat next to me. So I've taken a little bit of a walk around the church, and I'm glad I did, because there's a thing that is very near and dear to my heart here. I didn't know existed. Somebody has started up a bee-friendly community garden, so it's all like flowers and things and stuff that is friendly to bees, which is something, I mean, I love bees. So yeah, so I'm really pleased to see this. It's a very cool thing indeed. Yeah. You can see this here strawberry field, that's very cool. See, there should be more things like this in the world. You know, I certainly think Dora Bryan would approve. You know, I could see her sitting out here with a, you know, with a gin and tonic or something, doing a bit of gardening, you know. Yeah, definitely need more things like this. Now we're done looking at St George's Church, we're going to take a bit of a walk down that way into Cape Town to our next pub. And we're going to take a look, because there's some amusing shop titles down there. There's an off-licence called Boozy Cow, and my favourite is a canine grooming salon called Doggy Fashion. Now, I just know that the Carry On gang would love it, so let's go and take a look. God blimey, it's actually hotter than Satan's armpit. I was planned to wait till September to do this, because I wanted some nice light, but I also wanted it to be less heat, like less oppressively hot. Well, never mind. Right, well, unfortunately, I've come down here, and the place I'm looking for either isn't here anymore, or it has moved, or I'm just thinking it was in the wrong place, which is entirely possible. Yeah, the shop was called Doggy Fashion. I know, I've got some pictures of it, so I will definitely show you. And I've always had in my head that it'd be great, like, I can just imagine the Carry On team coming down here, and you could just see them come around the corner and see this sign. It was canine grooming, but it was called Doggy Fashion, you know. I could just imagine Kenneth Williams giving it one of them, and Sid giving it a, you know, you could just imagine it, couldn't you? It's just perfect setup for a Carry On scene. Yeah, so anyway, while we're here in the place where I thought it was, I think it was over there where that blue van is, but our next pit stop for a pub, which is going to be the Sidewinder. Now, our next location setting is the Palace Pier, but I'm going to take a little detour before then to take you somewhere that's interesting. It's one of my favourite places in Brighton, and it's also got a little bit of nice little Carry-On history to it. So yeah, bear with me, and we'll go on a little detour, and we'll end up down the Palace Pier in a bit. Behind me is the next pub stop on our little tour. a place that's very near and dear to my heart, the Carolina of Brunswick. Now, I actually lived there for a number of years, in that where my finger's pointing now, in that room up there. Now, yes, not only is this the place where I host my regular club night, Release the Bats, which my first one is actually back tomorrow, and I'm deeply excited. But Carry On Screaming and Carry On Regardless actress and all-around vamp and legend Fenella Fielding used to drink in that very pub. I was there one morning, myself and the manager, Peter Thornton, also known as Peter Von Sleaze. We were there, so I think we were hungover. It was Tuesday morning, reading the newspapers, having a coffee, that kind of thing. And this glamorous old lady came in and asked for a brandy and bitter lemon, and we were like, is it? And it was. And she used to come in every afternoon, every Tuesday afternoon for a brandy and bitter lemon. It was around that time, it was around 2010, of which I know that Dora Bryan was still up in Kemp Town, and they were good friends, so I imagine she was down visiting. I don't know, but whatever the reason, this delightful glamour puss on my t-shirt used to drink in that very pub over there. How awesome is that? So yeah, that's the next stop on the Carry On pub crawl. Now we're done having a drink with Fenella. It's a good time, if you want to do it, to do the Woodvale Cemetery leg of this tour and go and see the grave of Dora Bryan. Now, it's a bit too far for me today, so I'm not going to do it, but Woodvale Cemetery is an absolutely amazing place. And right next door to it is a pub called the Gladstone, which is well worth a pint. So why don't you head over that way? If not, and you're doing what I'm doing, we'll be heading into the North Lanes now. I'm going in search of one of these, some of these, and one of these. Right, I'm now outside one of my favourite shops in Brighton, which is Retro Cards, which is actually, they sell a whole lot of merchandise for film, TV, all that kind of business. Now, I haven't been in here for a while, but the last time I was in here, they had an absolute treasure trove of Carry On merch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, I'm going to don the old mask, you know, and I'm going to go in. I'm going to ask them if there's anything there that I can film or whatever. If not, I am going to be buying some bits and bobs. Now, once I'm done, there is a pub just down there called the White Rabbit, which is a good one to go for a pint in. If you want to go a bit further along, there's the Office, which does a fantastic range of gins. And there's one just over there, which is usually a bit quieter, so I might go in there because it's ridiculously busy down here today. So, yeah. Okay, bear with me. Gotta love the old dirty postcards, man. That's where Carry On humour comes from. Feels good to get in a bit of the shade. Now, my next stop, just over the road here, is the Theatre Royal in Brighton, where many of the Carry On team had performed. People such as Babs Windsor, Jim Dale, Jack Douglas, Windsor Davies. Now, Kenny never did. He performed another theatre that is just down the road that way, but that's now a gala bingo, unfortunately, so I'm not going to bother going down there. Now, while you're here, it'd be kind of rude not to pop in the Colonnade next door and soak up those theatre vibes, you know. It's also Gin Boutique, so winner all around there. Now, if you look just down there, you can't really see it from this angle, but that is where the Unitarian Church in Brighton is, where in November I will be doing a book fair. Myself, I will be appearing there, David Green will be appearing there, PJ Blakey Novis will appear in there. And just over the road from that is 3 pubs. There's Lady Fitzherbert's, the Mashed Tun, and my personal favourite, just slightly over the road, the Wagon and Horses, which again does a fine selection of gins. So, yep, this is a damn good street to be on if you want to booze. I'm here at Brighton's historic Palace Pier, which was featured in not one, but 2 different Carry On movies. First, it appeared in 1971's Carry On at Your Convenience. Now, what a lot of people don't realise is that the bulk of the filming for that... no, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. And then secondly, in Carry On Girls. Now, we'll be going to see the locations from At Your Convenience in a moment. Now, the bulk of the pier filming for Carry On Girls was actually filmed down at the West Pier. But by 1973, it was already falling into decrepitude, so the frontage of it was actually filmed here at the Palace Pier, where Sid made his daring getaway from Augusta Prodworthy's righteously angry followers. Yeah, he basically drove a little go-kart all the way down here and over there. So yeah, we're going to take a look around and we're going to see some of the locations for Carry On at Your Convenience. Well, it's a glorious day here on Palace Pier. So we've gone a bit further down and we're out of the way of a lot of people now, so we're going to actually sit and tell you a bit more about it. Now, in 1971, the Carry On team came to Brighton to film the works outing in Carry On at Your Convenience. Now, if you haven't seen the film, basically what happens is they all get on a coach, they stop off various pubs, one of which was Clarges up the road, and then headed down here onto the Palace Pier to do some, seaside touristy thing, get drunk and go to the pleasure beach. So we're going to go down there in a bit and have a look. Rumours are that it wasn't actually method acting, that they were actually as drunk as they appeared on screen, and so which I can fully believe, because it does look like some proper bit. Now, just over here, just like beyond me over there, right, there's a cockle stall, a winkle stall. Now, I don't know if it's the same one, but it's in the right place, and I hope it's the same one. I hope it's still there, because one of my favourite scenes in that is it's Kenneth Williams and Patsy Rowland, and they're standing outside a cockle stall on Brighton Pier, and Kenny's got a pot of winkles, right, and he goes to Patsy, "Do you want a winkle?" Patsy looks at him and goes, "I don't know if I should." "Oh, why not?" "Well, I don't know, I've heard they do strange things, seafood. I've heard it does strange things in a sex way." And Kenny holds up the pot and goes, "Oh, let's watch them for a bit then." I'll always love that scene. So yeah, I'm gonna, if it is open and it is there, I am gonna buy myself a pot of winkles, just so I can do it. Now, between here and the pleasure beachy bit down the end are a bunch of stalls and all that kind of stuff. Now, in the thing, they won I think it was an inflatable flamingo, and a bunch of rabbits and stuff like that down at like the pop gun store. So I'm going to have a look in a minute, and if there is anything, I'm going to try and win some. I probably won't, because I'm rubbish at anything like that. But what I do want to find is a Kiss Me Quick hat. I mean, there's nothing more British seaside than a Kiss Me Quick hat, right? I haven't seen one in years. Now, if I'm going to find one anywhere, it's going to be Brighton, isn't it? It's going to be Brighton Pier, or along the Esplanade down there, which I'll be walking along later on my way to West Pier. So, fingers crossed. Let's see what we can see, eh? So, not for the first time today, I've been foxed. Damn it. The blasted thing is shut, so I can't try and win an inflatable flamingo. There is a bunch of all this kind of crap though, so I might have another look further down. Right, what have we got down here? I'm just wondering if that winkle stall's still here, man. I can actually go for a pot of winkles right now. Jewellery, the usual. So, seaside tat. You gotta love it. A sub shop. I think that's where it was, I'm pretty sure that's where it was. It's a submarine shop. How disappointing is that? Where's the classic old winkle store, man? I just had a moment, them wonderful moments. It's like the visual. Yeah, I completely misread that. Moolies. Now, not only the moolies, I've come over here because There's the tarot consultant, right? Now, in Carry On At Your Convenience, it was actually like a hut thing. But there's been like a tarot reader here for like as long as anybody can recall. And in the film, Sid dresses up, you know, drags up, full on balloon boobies to try and trick Kenny Williams into having a bit of rumpy with Patsy Rowland. Yeah, good scene. Now we're on the old fun fair now. It's all a bit different than in the film. It's all, you know. Oh, I'm quite happy to see one of them. Hang on, can you see it? Where is it? There's a hugger duck. Well, unfortunately it's not open, so I can't try and win an inflatable flamingo there either, damn it. Now, in the film, over in this corner where the old wild river log flume thing is, I think that's the site where the Helter Skelter was. That Bernie Bresslaw comes hurtling down. Yeah, it's all a bit different. You know, like behind me, you got this whirly thing, and you got roller coasters and all kinds of stuff. Now it's I'm pretty sure that this is where the Helter Skelter that Bernie comes flying down is. Yeah. Now, one location that is still here, I'm going to walk over to now, is the haunted house. Now, it's not exactly the same haunted house, and there's a very good reason why. The original haunted house that was used in Carry On At Your Convenience, it had a bit around the back. It was split, it was on 2 stories. So when it came around out the back over the sea, doors opened and there was a track that took you out right over the sea, right? Now, at some point in its illustrious history, something went catastrophically wrong, and one of the cars with a bunch of people in it went plummeting off the side into the sea. Now, luckily, from what I gather, nobody was actually killed, but quite rightfully, they tore down the original structure, but they have built it as close as they possibly could, and it does actually look very, very similar. So here we are, the old haunted hotel. Yeah, it is very similar. I'm loving that. Oh, Frankenstein's monster. Gotta love it. Yeah. I'm half tempted to have a crack on it, you know. I've never been on it in all the years I've lived in Brighton. £5, £4.50, plug at me. You know what? Right, it's a lot more confusing to actually go on the haunted house ride than I actually imagined. You have to buy like a wristband and crap like that, and I cannot be bothered to do that today. Now, what I have found though is a Helter Skelter. It isn't the same Helter Skelter, but it's in an opposite corner. I think I may be wrong about where I thought it was. I think that's in the place where it was. It's not the same Helter Skelter, but you can still imagine big old Bernie Bresslaw coming hurtling down and coming out here with a dirty great grin on his face, can't you? Now, it's baking hot, and I am in need of refreshment. So, my next port of call. Now, I've got a choice of a couple of bars on the pier here. Now, there's Horatio's, which I think is one that was featured in Carry On At Your Convenience. So, we're going to go over there. I think I'm right. If not, then we'll have another addendum. But I can murder a gin and tonic right now, so I'm going to go and do that. Here we go, it's Horatio's bar. And, you know, I'm not entirely sure that was the one that's featured in it, although this has been here since around that time. But there is another bar just further along down here, which I think is the one that was used. So we're going to go down there and have a look. Right, so outside the Sunset Lounge, Sunset Garden, and whatever the hell it's called now. It wasn't called that back then,
But I think this is the one that was used in the filming of Carry On at Your Convenience. I recognise the door over there, over yonder. I'm pretty sure that's where, you know, Kenny and the lot come clattering out after a skinful, clutching his inflatable flamingo. So I'm going to go and get myself a refreshment. Suitably refreshed, I'm now going to head along to the site of the West Pier. Now this is going to be this is going to be very interesting for people who don't know the story of it. Now, yeah, West Pier is where you can see that, you know, a giant, I'm pointing at it now, the giant phallus. That's where we're going to head now. But we're going to go along the front, down here, because basically, I've been on a little bit of a quest today, not only for an inflatable flamingo and a Kiss Me Quick hat. I want to find some good, honest, dirty seaside postcards. Now there was a couple in retro vintage, but they were more like just like, you know, some like cartoon bottoms and that kind of business. But what I mean is the sort of seaside postcard that inspired the Carry On films. They were inspired by a certain type of British seaside postcard which had a dirty, smutty pun on it. It was like Innuendo City. Now, one of my personal favourites from my childhood that I remember was one. It was a large gentleman standing on the beach with his huge belly, and underneath the belly is a child, and he's peering out to sea with a concerned look on his face, and the caption says, "I can't see my little Willie anywhere." I sure Kenny would have. Yeah. So yes, we're going to go down there. We should go down to the... Huzzah, is all I say. Not only is there a giant plastic crustacean, but I can get some winkles. Awesome. And just a little bit further along there's another seafood hut, and now we're talking. Look at that. Gotta be done. Right, it's time for our next pit stop at the old Fortune of War. In the shadow of the phallus, you can't just see it over there at the moment. It's right on the seafront. And yeah, our next destination is literally over there. You can see the skeletal remains of the West Pier. So yeah, for now, I'm gonna go and get myself a pint in the old Fortune of War, which is actually one of the first pubs I ever came into in Brighton. And was still one of the most expensive, so I'm expecting a shock to the wallet. So here I am, in the spectral shadow of the West Pier. When Carry On Girls filmed their external scenes of the theatre, which is the only bit that's still remaining up there, that is where the exterior was filmed, the old ballroom. The pier was already falling into disuse. And this front bit, like, it was not open to the public. By 1975, it was no longer open to the public. They'd taken the front down so you couldn't get on. Now there have been lots of ideas about regeneration and that kind of thing, but in 2002 I believe it was, no 2003, it was hit by two separate storms that really did a number on it. And following up from that, there was two separate arson incidents, and so what you see now is all the remains, which is sad really considering. Now if you want to see what the interior of the old ballroom looks like, the Manchester band James filmed their music video Feel Like Fred Astaire in there. That's one of the last things that were ever filmed on the West Pier, was that music video, so check that out if you want to see what it looked like inside. Now the set in Pinewood Studio where they actually filmed the theatre scenes of the beauty contest in Carry On Girls, that was actually done in Pinewood, but it was actually done to look like the interior of the West Pier. So it was a fairly good representation. Yeah. And now what we got in its place is what I like to call the shaft. I'm kind of torn when I think about this thing, because when I first heard about that they were, ever since I moved here, they were all about regenerating the West Pier, and I thought, okay, they may rebuild it or do something, you know. No, they were going to build a gigantic shaft. Now, there's a capsule that goes all the way up to the top. Now, like I say, I'm torn about it because I think it's ridiculous. But if you think about it through the carry-on lens, it makes perfect sense. And this is why I wanted my slide whistle. But I'll just have to dub it. So you'll see what I'm saying. Right, so from here, this is our final location. I'm just going to head along, just along there. There's another little bar. I'm going to have another drink there before heading home. Thank you for joining me on my tour of Brighton's carry-on film locations. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will be doing another one of these, but next time it will be a lot darker subject. I'll be doing Alistair Crowley's Brighton. We're going to be examining Brighton's links to the Golden Dawn, Alistair Crowley, and to Jack the Ripper. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. That should be fun. Yeah, enjoy. It's a lovely day, man. Good night.